to create some sort of sexual following.
Well, I'm not gonna do that. What up, bro?
What are we doing, man?
It's another day, man. It's another day. Yo,
Oh
but I
yeah.
got something special for us.
All right.
And,
Doing some yoga.
yeah, but see, I had seen this, right? And I
Mhm.
felt like it kind of vibes with a lot of the things that you know about. You know a lot more about like Eastern medicines and stuff like that. 'Cause you're from the East.
Yeah.
That's
Like from
technically
like
right.
the Asia Pacific.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Exactly. And I'm over here in the West, and like I see the West is all about like pharmaceuticals and drugs and shit like that. And what I know is like,
So that money,
yeah, and
gonna
what,
make that money.
yeah, and for what I know, like they probably go to these places like Brazil or to these rainforests and just freaking cut down all the rainforests, take all of those great medicines and just crush them up and put them into a pill. Fuck us, the whole world's up, right?
Hmm.
But this one is special because do you know who Aleister Crowley is?
Uh, no, I don't think I do. At least the name's not ringing the bell off the top of my head.
So let's do this. So this is why you know about Eastern philosophies and medicines and practices, right? And again, this is something crazy because sadly, I know a lot about the bad guys, the occult and stuff, right? And this is one of them, Aleister Crowley.
Wait, when you say cult stuff, this isn't the dude that did the Powerade.
The power of what?
The Powerade, and he got everyone to kill themselves after following him.
I don't think so.
No, that's a mad swing and a miss then.
I don't think so,
You
but
know who I'm talking about? He makes like the religious sect, got everybody like living off the land and they became like a big family and stuff. And then
that's like a cult leader.
yeah.
Oh, he's I'm not I said the occult.
Oh, okay, never mind. I thought you were saying the bad guys and then like
The
cults
bad
and
guys,
stuff. Yeah.
occult.
Yeah. I
Occult.
got you, I
Yeah.
got you.
So this is Aleister Crowley.
Oh yeah, he's a good looking chap.
Aleister Crowley is like he's not the founder of the satanic church or something. I think that's some other guy who looks like a vampire or something, right? But Aleister Crowley, I'm pretty sure he's super rich. He was super rich. I think he traveled around the world when he was younger. I think he went all around the world. I'm mixing him with L. Ron Hubbard. You know what L. Ron Hubbard is?
L. Ron Hubbard is the dude that literally went around the world.
Yeah, so I'm
Yeah.
mixing Aleister Crowley with L. Ron Hubbard. But that is because those two are close, those two met. And Aleister Crowley had a hand in the creation with Scientology. For what I'm believing, what I remember. Um, but the thing is, Aleister Crowley also does black sex magic. Yeah, so like he thinks that you do like sex is magic, is energy work, and what he does is like he goes and I mean like they do their practices, and when they're practicing like a doctor or some shit, right? They have to write down their studies and figure out what works and what doesn't. So like from
I can get behind that though, man. I feel sex is pretty magic myself.
oh,
And it's definitely like an exchange of energy, like with a lot of healing properties to it.
yeah, but when you're doing it like a doctor and you're trying different forms, say it starts with one thing like, okay, let's have a threesome, right?
Hmm.
Or say a woman getting trained by 20 guys, right? Or say another one like what a donkey show, that's what it's called. When like some like a prostitute has sex with a donkey or some shit.
Yeah.
Yeah,
It kind of just gets a little more and more
decrepit.
away from the sacred energy and just
Yeah, yeah. What do you think they have to do all of that? That's what he did. So like from very vile stuff, and this is also the teachings in Hollywood, because this guy is multi-famous. He had a hand in Scientology.
Hmm.
And this is the type of stuff that we talk, like, Eyes Wide Shut, those little dark sex parties,
Yep,
the
yep.
things that happen after the after party. This is the type of dark sex magic that is popularized in, and I mean, like, look, you see the photo. He's doing the little, who does this? Jay-Z, Beyonce, right? That's things that Kanye is talking about, but I don't know. I think Kanye already went to that side, you know.
Yeah, yeah.
So,
But that's what like the mark of the Illuminati, right?
yeah,
Yeah.
exactly, exactly. But there's nothing, right? The same people who, like Dave Chappelle said, if it's black, you see a gang of black people, right? You call it a gang, right? You see, I mean, you just go straight to it. You see a group of Jewish people, it's just a coincidence, and you should not talk about it, right? But like I said it before, these are Satanists cloaked in religions, so like they don't want to go around saying, yeah, I do black sex magic. I get trained every day by 100 men,
Mhm.
right? So like now, the fact that Aleister Crowley, this is something from the 70s or 80s, that he came through from this Eastern philosophies and he came through with yoga. What do you know is yoga?
I know yoga to be like a spiritual practice
Yeah.
that is for the um, clarification of the mind, it's so to like to be able to clear one's mind, for the full exercise and freedom of thought and use of the brain, but
Yeah.
also to like also stretch the body, and get the full extent of control and movement over the body as well.
Okay.
So it is also like a strengthening the connection of mind and body.
Okay. I feel that, and like, you know what, so I do this things with my dumbbells where I do XYTs. So I go like that, go like, X, like a Y, oh, XITs or something like that.
Mhm.
Do an X, do an I, do a T with my arms. And then like I noticed that like, you bend down and you touch your toes and like you feel like the tingles in your legs. And like I've noticed that energy, right? So then I started to like feel like I'm just like trying to like feel energy, and it feels like when you put your arms out like that and you have your legs out wide or you lay your legs in, there's like a tingle, or at least I feel it.
Yep.
Like that goes down all of your, like it goes through your arms and down your leg and up your freaking all your chakras and shit. So I noticed that shit and I was like, I really like that. So let me continue to do stuff like that. And that's how I stretch. But this yoga stuff, when I heard that yoga was evil, I was like, what is downward dog, right? Karma Sutra, right? It's all sexual and shit, right?
Mhm.
So I was like, maybe they might have a point, maybe they don't, but I don't know anything about it. And to this right now moment, I still don't know anything about it.
Yeah. Well, that'd be all like tantric practice when
Tantric
you're going
practice.
into like sacred energy like that. Yeah.
Yeah,
Because it's all about like yeah, the energy that's created from that. So it's like I know that they do like say tantric massaging and stuff like that, which is where you're supposed to like raise energy so you get into like, like turning someone on, but not bringing them to climax, but rather just to the climax of energy itself.
edging.
Say, well, I guess you could call it edging, yeah, because you're not like
Yeah,
finishing or whatever, but
yeah.
yeah, you
You gotta put the
stay in
tip
that
in.
heightened sense sort of thing.
Yeah, so they legit. If it's a man on, like I'll put the tip in, not the whole thing. Just like she probably poking at it.
Yeah, yeah. Well, I don't think it comes with any form of penetration, but that is the right
Yeah. Oh, so
concept. Yeah,
he just rubs it.
yeah, yeah.
It's,
Like
it's
rubs it,
gonna
yeah,
rub my
wraps
cock on.
around it,
I'm gonna
and
rub my
yeah.
cock on your vagina right here. You sign a notice, right? Okay, cool. I'm gonna rub my cock on your vagina right here. Okay. All right, but yeah, that's kind of like yoga, I guess. But we're gonna figure it out because now that I see that,
More true than not to probably some yoga practices, I'm sure, when they're like, you're getting behind them and pushing down on the lower back.
what are you doing to my wife? What are you doing to my wife? I know you're doing something. And then it's like it plays out in GTA too. It's like I want to go to massage therapist, Why does she go and get massages all the time? wonder why. Is she that stressed? Do I not have enough strength to massage these ankles out here? I wonder why. But nah, so the pure fact that Aleister Crowley, this evil mother effer, is tied into yoga, this Eastern practice, I'm pretty sure from Indians, something fucked up. So let's see.
Yeah.
All right.
It definitely looks like the kind of guy that'd be stealing your lady, you know?
Stealing the soul.
Every day talk about this stuff. So take a look, listen for yourself.
Eastern meditation is a religious practice that has successfully penetrated the ranks of mainstream American
Penetrated.
society. Unknown
It
to
is
most,
penetrated.
however, is the fact that this is exactly what was planned and hoped for by a group of Indian mystics just over 100 years ago.
It was during the 19th century, out of Calcutta, the black magic capital of India, that Parahamsa Madhavi emerged as an enthusiastic reformer of yoga. He deliberately changed the packaging of this ancient religious practice so as to make it more acceptable to the Western mindset. Since that time, a new modern scientific approach, having been aggressively marketed by leading gurus and their disciples, has now taken root in the American consciousness.
Yoga and meditation were originally
This is old
intended
shit.
to be used only by the
Yeah, it is a
elderly
bit
who were nearing
age.
death.
This is very,
The
very
yoga
old.
positions, the chanting, and meditative state were designed to put the practitioner in contact with the Hindu deities who are said to be able to guide them into their next phase of reincarnation. The physical body would experience a controlled heartbeat and breath rate along with a mind that is deadened to reality. This would then supposedly make the entry into death easier and less traumatic. How incredibly ironic it is, then, that this ancient practice, which was designed to assist the ancient Hindu in dying, is today being used by vibrant young businessmen, athletes, and even children for achieving better, healthier living.
Today, yoga and meditation is promoted as an exercise to relieve stress and worry, and offers escape from the confusion of everyday life. It is acknowledged to lower blood pressure and claims to offer freedom from poverty and suffering by supplying good health and wealth. Yoga and meditation have now been incorporated into a number of branches of medicine. Many large businesses require their employees to practice it, hoping to stimulate higher productivity. Members of the United Nations and the Pentagon are encouraged to meditate before considering major decisions. And public school students in many instances are required to participate in Hindu rituals of yoga and meditation, despite the separation of church and state.
The danger lies in the
Okay.
fact that despite its
Well, I wish I
packaging,
had that in my school,
despite
man.
its surface
I remember
benefits,
doing shit like
and
that.
despite its
I don't know
claims
why
to
they
the
would tie in
contrary,
separation of church and
meditation
state there.
remains as
Yeah,
it
I
was
mean, like,
originally
for real, you
designed.
don't,
A
because they
religious
say it, I guess
practice
it's toting the lines or
used for
something.
making contact with a dark spiritual realm. In this report, we will be asking,
That
Very
green
like
screen.
narrow
is
outlook
Eastern
towards it, you know?
meditation the answer
Yeah, it
to
is,
Western
though.
society's ills? Or is it a pathway to
At this stage, at
deception?
least, just in what they were saying there.
Yeah.
Because they were saying how it was like a practice that was used to assist in like moving towards death by like,
Yeah.
Hinduism, but like yoga itself has been practiced in many like different aspects, you know. Because I know like meditation and like yoga and stuff like that. Even like when it comes to like the Illuminati, you had like the assassins and stuff like that.
Are you talking
And
about
they-
the assassins?
Assassins, yeah. And they used to smoke like hash and they used to like meditate and clear the mind
Are
and
you
stretch
talking
the
about-
body and stuff before going to perform like an assassination.
I'm thinking, are you talking about the, cause, oh man, well, this is something another different, but, like, what was the knee on the back? Are you talking about like the Indian death cult?
Well, no, that was more so tied in with like the Illuminati and stuff. I never researched into it heavy. I know that when I was watching what's it calls it, got Tom Hanks in it, involves the Illuminati and the killing of like the Catholic priests and stuff.
Oh, Angels and Demons?
Angels and Demons, but it wasn't that one, it was the other one.
Da Vinci Code.
Da Vinci Code, yes. It mentions it throughout in the Da Vinci Code.
What about the Assassins?
Mm-hmm.
Bro.
And then doing a bit more into that and stuff like that, they were saying how it was like the assassins themselves, they used to like smoke hash and stuff. Because like the THC would relieve their mind, and that in coalition to like meditation and stuff would give clearer mind, and they would be able to take control over their energy, to be able to disconnect from that I guess like from your moral code or whatever, not necessarily throwing away your morals, but being
Yeah.
able to just like turn them off to allow the ability to perform an attack or a job without, like getting strung up on like, is it right to kill a man or not, rather than
Oh.
just clear their mind and do the duty at hand.
Oh my God, dude. We're talking about the same shit, bro. We're talking about the same shit, but now I'm gonna fuck you up. Well, hopefully. So this Indian death cult, right? I'm looking at photos of them right now, but I'm trying to find the most key and influential photo, and it seems like it's been erased. And now I'm gonna go even back even more because they got the Indian death cult is read that shit. I'm gonna make a sure take a let me just make sure I get it before they take it away.
Yeah.
What does that say? It says thug, don't it?
Yep.
And now
A
what
true
is
story of India's murderous cult.
and now
A
what
meticulous piece of work. Oh no, that's just a little blurb.
yeah, but who do they call thugs?
Here they call thugs.
Who do they call thugs here in America?
They call many people thugs, but
But who's known as a thug?
thugs are like like the frontmen to like bikie gangs and stuff like that. When I think of a thug,
They
I
don't
think
call
of,
white
like,
people thugs.
you never heard white people called thugs?
I'm
I
talking
think of like
generalization.
gangs and affiliations.
Dude, I'm
Thugs are
talking
like
I'm talking about let's get some real like you're talking real?
Like,
You're definitely talking real. They are thugs.
I think even Rocky Balboa.
Who
He mentions himself as being a thug, right? In Rocky.
I don't know. I never heard that, bro. All I'm looking about is the generic ass, racist ass American shit. Who is known as thugs and gangsters in America? It's black people.
Yeah.
And I mean this Indian death cult thug, right? I'm just trying to show you some dots that I already know.
Yeah.
I've seen this before. Now the picture that I'm trying to look up, because I found it, hallelujah. The Indian death cult, right? This is how they kill people. They put the knee on their back and they suffocate them. Right? What do they do? What happened to George Floyd?
Yeah, it looks like the knee on the back, the suffocating, held down. It's like a standard practice of it. They're also going for the heel there, where they would lock in on the heel and then get your Achilles heel,
Mm-hmm.
and then you lock it in at the heel there.
And what were you just talking about? Talking about these thugs who they do this meditation, right? And they just go straight into it, right? Because they just killed that and then they killed their morals. Or they could just go straight into it and they're fluid and they're loose. Because I feel personally with the energies, they open themselves up to these same horrible practices. Because if you kill somebody, I feel it's a murderous type of demon, right? You have to open up yourself, or you have to be so low that type of demon inflicts, like it lays claim over you, and it makes you do things, fucks your head up. These men loosened out their energies and opened themselves up to practices that had demons on them, and they did it. They were able to, like a CIA operative. The CIA, right? The same practices, because have you ever seen The Good Shepherd, Matt Damon?
No, I actually haven't seen that one. I've heard about it a lot because I hear it's a very good movie, but I haven't seen it.
The Good Shepherd, right? What the CIA has to do, these same high elite colleges, right? Yale, Harvard, whatnot, these people who were going to become the president. George Bush was CIA, wasn't he, right?
Yeah.
So these kids, when they go into college, just like Mark Zuckerberg, in the network, the social network. All of these people at the time they're kids in college, and they're very loose with energy, right? As kids are the fucking darkness, aren't they?
Mhm.
Drinking and shit. But at these times, these are elitist kids. Their parents are billionaires. You're in line to be president one day. These are the things that you have to do. Just do them. And the Good Shepherd let it known that the CIA has to do some really, really degrading stuff, like wrestle in pig feces. Yeah. They have to wrestle in pig feces, and that's just one example. There's also like there's different movies like The Firm, or like I'm pretty there. I'll put up some Illuminati movies. Um, it's one of the greatest Illuminati movies if you ever want to watch it. The Skulls, Skull and Bones. All
Hell yeah.
right, all right. He's Skull and Bones. Okay, they let you know in that watch that movie to let you know what's happening in colleges, in the basements, in those high Ivy League, uh high class shit. Only the greatest of great people has been there. Only the leaders of leaders, right?
Yeah.
So it's
Well, you're talking like, like the
presidents,
fraternity codes and stuff like
fraternities.
that.
Yeah.
You got like Alpha, Omega, and all that.
Have you ever seen any of those sigils or some of those fraternities?
Like not in person there, but I've like seen into it. They don't do like the Alpha, Beta, Omega sort of things. None of that like exists in Australia.
Yeah,
It's
because
more
they're
of
probably
like,
not evil.
well,
Well, yeah, I mean, it goes back to the
there's
first.
plenty of evil that comes out of Australia and stuff. Like if you look at say like the news networks and all of that,
Yep.
and the propaganda that's produced through that, that's all like Matthew Murdoch.
Oh,
That's
yep.
one Australian
Oh
dude that's
goodness,
just
these are people.
rolling
Wait, we
massive
gotta bleep
strings.
that out. We gotta bleep that out.
Yeah.
We can't say that. We can't say that name. Just like we can't say Rothschild. Gotta bleep that out.
Mhm.
Boy,
Yet its people are among the poorest and most suffering on earth. Millions of Indians suffer from malnutrition, disease, and poverty. The people are apathetic because the religion has taught them to be detached observers, disregarding the agonizing
what?
lifestyle which imprisons them.
What was she was just playing around with whatever that was?
I was a member of the social service training at the college. We were trying to do what we could to help.
Or the training of
A
strength
gentleman
and culture.
and they came around to us and said, "Why are you doing this? These people
That
are
is
suffering,
unsanitary.
sick or diseased or whatever.
You get
And
blood
come to
diseases.
us this
Oh
way
yeah.
because they've done something wrong in their past life. Now, no matter what you do to them, if you cut short their suffering in this life, what will happen is they will simply come back in their next life in the same state or a worse state. So you're really wasting your time.
That's what you're telling these people who are souls. You're telling them to come back to Earth.
Yourself from it. So there's no high view, say social action or compassion or an outrage.
Hang on, hang on.
Mind is blown right now.
Mine is blown because for what I feel is like, we're a soul. Leave. Leave if you can. Yo, I heard some scary shit too. Where it was like, you know how everything is backwards in America. And like I heard some scary shit recently, and I wrote it on my refrigerator to I could kind of always remember it. But it was everything what I know about America is everything is backwards. It's like the upside down. They tell you shit and they're lying to you sometimes. I don't say they, and I know who I already classified who they are. They are evil people. They are those followers of Lucifer who is trying to cause destruction and harm towards people. That's who the theys are. Evil people. Evil
Yes.
people do evil things that cause harm and destruction, just like murderers, right? So these guys are spiritual murderers, energy murderers, and they're telling people. I heard this thing. It was said that don't go to the light. And I was like, what do they tell you in movies? Go to the light, go to the light, go to the light. Every little, little show it says when someone is dying, just go to the light. And I'm like,
It depends on the concept. You know, like, because if it's somebody that's like old age on their deathbed ready to pass,
Yeah,
then it's like, go to the light, enjoy
yeah,
it, you know what I mean? But if it's like
yeah,
somebody that's like been shot, bleeding out on the side of the road,
yeah,
they'll be like, like if you see a light, stay away from the light, like come back to me, man, stay away from the light.
yeah. But I think like since I just feel everything is backwards, but and it's just crazy because I heard it from some source and it's unsourced, but whatever. It was saying don't go to the light, and it said it as like what does the predator do? Like if you're deep in the below seas, what creature is down there? I think there's like the anglerfish,
Mhm.
and it has a little light,
Yeah,
right?
that shit's fucking freaky.
And it's a lure. It's a lure, right? You see all of these movies like Skyline and shit, like they have a light and everybody looks to the light and then they go to the light and there's a lure, right? Or like so like why would they tell you to go to the light when you're dying? And now they tell people to reincarnate. So what if the light is back into the cycle of life? So instead of your soul leaving Earth and going on, you're still cycling in Earth.
Mhm.
And I had another scary feeling about Elon Musk and this freaking Starlink shit, all of these satellites. It's just a feeling and a thought, but I think very weird. So, I'm nobody. Don't listen to me. But I had a scary feeling like he wants to make a web of satellites, a web of satellites encompassing the Earth. Like, what are like soul trackers?
It's very possible, man.
So you like your soul cannot get off. And what I know from religious studies is Lucifer wants to steal all God's souls by force if necessary.
Yeah.
And
So,
they're telling people to reincarnate. And then it just seems like, oh, they said that he just said some fucked up shit like, oh, if they live bad lives, reincarnate, then they have to keep reincarnating and doing this bad lives. And these are kids just in dung, just.
well, I was gonna say because a lot of Eastern practices they believe in that. Like, so Shintoism believes that you're trying to get like a pure soul, and eventually once you achieve like purity of soul, then that's where you would not like go through the same cycle again. But it's kind of like you go through a life cycle, you try to gain the knowledge, experience, purity of soul, and everything by living a good life and like learning how to see the bigger picture and contribute to the world and the beauty around you. But if you don't achieve what you're supposed to in that life cycle, then you're going to like, it's like 42 different planes or whatever, but you'll go in on a higher plane per se, because you've learned some lessons and stuff like that. And then you'll relive through your life, with that gained experience and all of that. And then it's like a constant trying to get to the top cycle, which would be where you attain like the same level as karma and purity. And that is where you just become consciousness. And then you are just a spirit at that point. You don't go back into the physical realm of what we live in.
So they want to keep.
Hinduism does like reincarnation as well. Taoism has reincarnation. A lot of the Eastern philosophies, which I think is funny too, because when you die, it's like a depiction of like a tunnel and a light. So I've seen it before where it's like somebody's like passing, and they're seeing this light, and then when they pass and going into the light is like them actually seeing like the opening of the vagina as they're being birthed back out into the world and seeing the light of the outside world.
I would choke my doctor if I saw they like, took my leg. I would choke. Put me back.
But they also say that like as a young child, it's like you remember everything of like a past life, and then like as you grow up, you forget everything that you knew of that past life. And that's where it's like children that have talked about like situations and scenarios, and they've just known people's names and known things that have happened that they would never know as like a 4 or 5 year old kid.
Maybe they
And you
were
just
somebody.
catch them talking about like a situation. It was literally like
Yeah.
they were in that past life,
Yeah.
still remembering
Having
like
mad
memories
deja
that they
vu.
didn't have.
Having mad deja vu, being all fucked up. How about probably because someone in the past like told them to go to the light. That shit got me fucked up because yo, I'm on some singular shit. I believe in what the hell was that?
Yeah, it's probably a little bit of a squeak. He's on the edge of the night.
I'm on the edge, bro. I'm on some singular shit. First dimension, second dimension, we're in a third dimension. When I'm dead, fourth dimension. I don't want to come back in this bitch. I don't want to see no vagina coming. I will choke my doctor. I will. I'm like, no, don't rip the umbilical cord. Just shove me back. This shit pissed me off, bro.
Things like that very
I
often.
don't find like in the cold.
They believe that when
Yo.
a person suffers, that is what he's due as a result of the law of karma. Because
Let's take it back.
He's saying that he obviously made a mistake in his past life, and so now he's got spinal dysmorphia. It's a pretty hard push.
You were trying to do what Hindi came around to us and said, why are you doing this? These people who are suffering in the villages, sick or diseased or whatever, have come to Earth in this state because they've done something wrong in their past life. Now, no matter what you do to them, if you cut short their suffering in this life, what will happen is they will simply come back in their next life in the same state or a worse state. So you're really wasting your time.
It is part of the world of illusion, and the goal is to withdraw and detach yourself from it. So there's no high view, say, social action or compassion or an outraged concern to see justice in this world. On the contrary, if you do things like that,
And
very
he
often it
has
just
the
tinkers with a
pyramid
person's
eye on
karma.
his forehead.
they believe that when a person suffers, that is what he's due as a result of the law of karma. Because you've done something very sinful in this lifetime or in a past lifetime. So there's very little compassion.
One just was taught to ignore all of the dreadful, the intolerable poverty and suffering of India. There were beggars clustering around the gates of the ashram, day and night, children starving and living in little huts surrounding what was supposed to be a religious community. The contradiction was disgusting to me, but most of the sannyasins failed to notice it. It appeared not to bother them in the least.
We feel that the cause of suffering is within, and so to allow people to experience peace themselves, we teach courses in meditation. They seek to escape suffering by numbing their emotions and compassion through meditation. Although the Hindu tries to convince himself that suffering is only in his mind, an illusion as he calls it, Maya, at the same time, he believes that he has to suffer again and again by forever being forced to return to this world through reincarnation.
All the gurus that I know of in the Western world teach reincarnation, a doctrine very central to Hinduism. Reincarnation is all about dying and coming back to this world in one form or the other.
Hare Krishna people believe in transmigration of the soul, as they prefer to call it, traveling from body to body to body.
These physical bodies don't last forever, even though the soul does. So in the same way that a driver needs to change cars, in the same way we need to change from one body to another.
Gandhi called reincarnation a burden too great to bear. Yet it is being eagerly embraced in the West in diluted form, as part of a patent blend of Hinduism and Zen Buddhism, camouflaged with psychological terminology. This New Age religion is promoted through thousands of worldwide networks and hundreds of major gatherings, such as this Mind Body Spirit Festival held in Los Angeles. It is a westernized version of India's Kumbh Mela and promotes many of the same gurus and practices, from astrology and palmistry to psychic readings, healings, and meditations. The festival, now international, was started in London in 1977 by Graham Wilson. He explains the New Age interpretation of reincarnation as an upward evolution to a higher species of mankind.
We don't just reincarnate as an individual soul into a new body each time, but more of there's a collective consciousness of souls, which is why I think we have access to a lot more information than we realize.
No.
I noticed that in the Western world,
It's
reincarnation
like the internet.
has become something of a fad.
Yeah, well, no, I mean, I can kind of see. That's a bit of like my personal belief ties in sort of slowly to what he was saying
Within
there.
Hinduism,
Collective consciousness.
reincarnation is
Well,
considered
I
to be
believe
a
in
terrible
collective
concept.
consciousness. I believe
The
that
aim of
when
the
you
Hindu
pass,
religion
you
is to somehow try
go
and
to
escape
the
from
collective
this endless
consciousness.
imprisonment of life and death.
And you know, like by practicing these things like yoga and meditation, stuff like that, you know, you strengthen your crown chakra, and that allows you to like connect to the universe around you or to that collective consciousness. And I feel that in certain things that I practice, so for like direct moments of like contact and connection to that collective consciousness, songs I've written on the guitar. Like when I wrote my first song on the guitar, like lyrics and all of that and everything, I
Yeah.
played that from start to finish the first time I played it, like
Yeah.
pretty much perfectly. And I've never forgotten it, you know what I mean? But it wasn't like I sat down and wrote it or anything. It's like I just became like an antenna. And I literally, this was played through my body.
I know what you're feeling. I know exactly what you're feeling the same because I said that yesterday, Dan, about when I was rapping.
Mhm.
Right? And I felt like it was, for me, I felt like it was just energy, you know, and like even to the point where like it happened like 10 years ago or things that happened 10 years ago or something. I'm not in that same energy from when we were a young child, you know.
Mhm.
And to be able to capture that, I was lucky I was able to capture it, to be able to go back and see what it was. But because it was, that's why I would think like, would you not dedicate that more to the skill? Now that I see it in a new lens, would you not base that, you know, that fluent music playing to skill and also your creativity meeting at a certain point where you were able to like freestyle?
I think that you need to train yourself as a vessel to be able to pick up like the motor skills and the things that are available to make yourself relevant. You know? So it's like if somebody can't play a guitar, then the collective consciousness might have a great piece for the guitar that it wants to send to someone. It's not going to send it to somebody that doesn't know how to play the guitar, you know, like you need to be vibrating at that right frequency with the right skills necessary and everything like that to become relative and be worth it to them to connect to you, you know? So it's like
Be worth it for who to connect to you?
the collective consciousness, you know?
That's what.
Because it's like you're training yourself to connect to that, but also in the same sense, it needs to connect to you as well, you know? So it's like it'll choose you, I guess, is a way to put it out
Okay.
there. So I was at a level where my playing and the things that I was doing and stuff, the vibes I was feeling and where I was at, like both mentally,
Yeah.
but also like
Physically.
skill level and
Was
physically
there.
and stuff. It was in that right essence for the collective consciousness to send me what it sent.
See, this is why I understand exactly what you're saying, and I only dispute it because I feel more clear about that past thought of like, you know, it was a spirit, like, you know, like God gave me, told me something to write this down, you know. Because that's kind of what I would also describe it as. It was like you say, collective consciousness. I would say God, you know, Yahweh. Like Yahweh gave me the idea to tell you this, and I would feel in you. Yeah, you have to also be in that same heighten of spirit energy, and then on top of that, talent wise.
Mhm.
So, say if someone were to have something really that they wanted to speak about, but they didn't know how to say it, and they got, you know, blessed with, you know, the ability to speak. You know, I would think that that is more. It might not actually be real. I think if anything, that person would actually have to start developing his speaking skills. Say like, oh, you don't know Kevin Samuels. Kevin Samuels was a speaker. he turned into a speaker. He wasn't a great speaker at the first.
Yeah.
But then when he was able to take his time and develop his vocabulary and speak more and practicing, then he became an affluent speaker, you know. So I don't really give it up to no, you know, I wouldn't say collective consciousness, and I'm not even gonna doubt Yahweh like that, God like that. He can't beam energy into somebody to give them a message. I'm not doubting that. I would say for the majority though, there's a whole bunch of freestyle rappers, right? There's trillions of guitar players. There's trillions of phenomenal guitar players, and they're all thinking, you know, God told me to write this down, you know, the collective consciousness told me to write this down. When at the end of the day, you're fucking skillful. Own it. You have skill. You know, so like, I would think personally, that's why I just deflected, because I used to be in that mind state of like, God told me to write this down, you know, I don't even know where that came from. But I'm like, I was skillful. I did this shit every day. Every day I wrote a song. So it was like, now when I didn't write a song for 10 years and I go back and I listen to it, I'm like, damn, I was a different person. No, you weren't. You were better. So,
well, and not even better, just more in line with
yeah,
different things. You know what I mean?
yeah,
'Cause
you
that's
were more
clearly-
talent. You let go of your talent. Like if you stop, like you let go of your talent. You know, you stop. Like that's a car that doesn't, like a ball that's not rolling. Like you have to roll a ball down the hill.
Well, it'll gather moss in
Yeah.
that sort of sense, and that's where they talk about like the calcification of like the pineal gland.
Yeah, you're not using your mind.
The pineal gland is like the creative hub, I guess, to freedom of thought and creative thinking and stuff like that. They do a lot of stuff, like they say like fluoride, for one thing, calcifies the pineal gland.
Mm-hmm.
And that's why they put like fluoride in the water and stuff. Like a
water,
lot of
right?
stuff is designed to
Like
try,
water, though, right?
yeah, designed to take away the freedom of thought, the freedom of creative thinking and stuff like that. Because they want worker drones in society today, you know, they want people that are going to sit down and do what they're told, and not people that are wanting to be free and to creatively think and do what it is that, you know, their heart tells them that is right. You know, you
Yeah.
get trained to listen to this and not to this as well. And so I think that also kind of ties a bit into like you know, it's like you don't necessarily lose that talent, but what became more relevant would have been like, you know, like the working in the directions you were taking at that time. And so you didn't necessarily, as I said, lose that talent or lose that energy, but started to resonate in a different direction. Not everything that is done comes from the collective. Like, I'm not saying every song out
Yeah.
there is like a message from the collective consciousness.
Yeah.
You know, you get like the rappers on the street that are literally like, you know, I'm in this area, you know, like I'm in LA and I see a guy walking with his girl in the red dress or whatever, and he's like freestyling what is in front of him right at that moment.
Yeah.
That is something that is like a trained skill that he's using.
Yeah.
But like in the same sense, if all of a sudden, say he went through like a breakup or something,
Yeah.
he started looking into like how to deal with loss and all of this, and started vibrating at that sort of
Yeah.
level where he's like getting through, but looking to like those external means, you know, like
Yeah.
praying to the universe to get like messages and stuff. And then something like comes to him where it's like he's not even writing, like he's just sitting there, and then next thing you know, he's writing out a whole rap
Yeah.
that's to handle with loss and everything. And it's like that message in itself might not necessarily come from his skill. Like you'll be like, you know, it's like it just came to me, and I believe that's a possibility as well, because his
Yeah.
body and everything that's happening to him at that time has kind of put him into that mode and that like vibrating. You know, the lessons and the experience he's had is relevant
Yeah.
for that message to come through and for him to be an antenna for those words, you know?
So, well, I guess it's like, yo, life is as you perceive it, and exactly how these blessed people are perceiving life to want to keep going through it in a continuous cycle. Maybe not, because I'll tell you one thing, like I speak just from a space where I know what happened to me playing around with energy. And I'm never doing it again, and I'll always remember it. My shit was so heavy, so intense, so memorable. It's my story. It's my forever story. That's what, if anybody sees the things and see the videos, they're gonna know my forever story. So, for me, energy-wise, I know I'm bold, faced and stuck, firm, solid. There is no question or nothing, right? You ever hear the term guardian angel?
Yeah.
Do you believe in it?
Yes.
All right, cool. Well, I do too. All right, and I would feel when you're talking about like you give it up to collective consciousness. I would say maybe there's a guardian angel. There's also your consciousness as well because you watched things, you watched movies, you heard stories. Maybe you have friends, you have family stories, family members who tell you stories. So this is all stuff that's just sitting in your subconscious and like things that you dream about. Radio stations, music videos, songs, all of that shit is stored in your subconscious. And like when I would feel personally now, being a little bit older, that's what it is. You're making a story. You're making a vivid story, just like I would picture it. Maybe say like you're a director or a producer of a show, and you're producing a sitcom or some shit, and you just looking at you see your day to day. You see your day to day. I work paycheck to paycheck. What the fuck? Cat's throwing up. Damn it! Everybody's calling me. Why do you want money from me? I don't got money to give you. Is this a fucking funny sitcom? You look up at the sky like you're Jim Carrey from that what's that movie?
Buddy, Jesus.
Yeah.
I was gonna say Left Brian. That's Monty Python.
Yeah, but that's on
the Truman Show.
Yep, the Truman Show. You looking up the sky like, hey, what the hell is going on, right? Yeah, and but like I'm pretty sure with those things, it was like it's all your subconscious shit that's coming and is regurgitating at you because maybe it might even be just something as simple as your body trying to defend itself, like his white blood cells. You see your mind is in trauma and you've gone through a breakup now, and what you're doing is you're trying to figure out a way to figure out a way to solve the solution, right? At the end of the day, your brain and you are like working together. So your brain is shooting off endorphins or chemicals and shit. Just create a story to make yourself feel better, And also with things that I know, you could have a guardian angel who's trying to help in little ways. Like, oh damn, you're down. $20 just flies. Whew. Hey, look at that. So like that's kind of the ways I think about things and I try to stay positive, especially in a negative place. Things like this, it irks my soul because it's like, why are you saying this? You telling people to never let go of those shackles? You telling these people even in death, you can't let go of your shackles? From what I know about Yahweh, you give it to him because he handles it. He gave his blessed son to us, and he died for our sins. That is those shackles. That is that weight. And we were told, like, yo, follow his doctrine, follow his word, give your burden to him. And you see that you gave your burden to him. Now be happy and then thankful. Be happy and thankful, and now follow by doctrine. What? It's not telling you to do nothing bad things. It's telling you to clean up your morals. Don't cheat on your wife or your husband. Don't kill people. Be good to thy neighbor. Be good to yourself. Like, don't, but hold on to your shackles. Even when you die and you're going to go through your little death with your shackles and just come right back. What is that?
Yeah, well, I don't know too. I liking the way he was wording it. I don't know if it was like kind of
a whole bunch of them said the same thing.
Yeah, well, they were saying that it's like with the reincarnation, and it's like, you could come back even in like a worse position or something like that.
Yeah.
But I don't know if it was necessarily like, it teaches you to like look beyond what it is that is your like physical reality right now, because I think it's also in the sense of what is not necessarily what is, like this is the experience you're having at the moment. the life lessons you're going to take from this. But, you know, you need to look beyond that and look at like the greater picture, like the finding of what's important, what's the moral lessons and stuff that you'd be learning from this to grow as like a consciousness or a spirit or something, and no, not just to like focus on the problems of what your physical like realm is in this moment, because you could literally come back and be in a worse place. So it's like, why
Yeah.
would you sit there and be, you know, like this could be any worse, this is as bad as it gets, because you literally could live out this life and then come back in an even worse position. You don't know.
Oh, well, I used to
I don't
think
know if I'm
about it.
misperceiving that, but that to me was more so like what I think they were trying to push towards with what they were saying. Or what is also practice in it is kind of like a, you know, like
Yeah.
that age-old adage of like, you know, things are like 10% what it is or appears to be, and then 90% what you make it.
Yeah. Okay, I feel you, but I tell you what, I never felt the feeling of being claustrophobic until like things like this. You know, when you're talking about, oh, keeping a spirit, keep going, cycling and cycling, back to this earth and out, and back to this earth and out, I feel claustrophobic.
The magic of TV, quickly, having the food appear out of nowhere, some lovely mac and cheese.
Certainly not bad. It is a form of punishment.
Within Hinduism, reincarnation is considered to be a terrible concept. The aim of the Hindus' religion is to somehow try and escape from this endless imprisonment of life and death. And the means by which they believe one can get out of this hopeless trap is through the practice of yoga.
Yoga goes all the way back to the Hindu god Shiva, who is called Yogeshwara,
Shiva,
meaning Lord of
Kali
Yoga.
also known as the
Find
god of
yoga
destruction.
being taught in several of the major Hindu scriptures. Krishna, one of the many Hindu gods, was an advocate of yoga. Yoga is also mentioned in the Gita as the main means to attaining salvation. The word means basically to yoke, union. The goal of the Hindu is to be yoked with Brahman. Brahman is the Hindu concept of God, the all or the absolute.
Dave Hunt
So that
is an
concept you said does
internationally
tie to
recognized
Shintoism
cult
pretty
expert
closely
and
too.
best-selling author
Yeah.
of more than
There
a
are-
dozen books dealing with.
The one thing I remember one thing that was I saw this chart that talked about. I'll put it up, but it's talked about all of the Indian deities, and like they're all like their family tree. They're all related to each other, like cousins and brothers and stuff like that. And like like there's a elephant-headed guy. There's a bunch of them, but I'll put it up there. But
It's like Vishnu, I believe, is the elephant head guy.
yep. So like when I seen their lineage, from my knowledge, I said it from before, and I'll say it again. It is the same fallen angels that fell with Lucifer. That's what it is. And these deities are proclaiming themselves as gods, and they have powers. They're angels, but towards man, they're telling man, "Yeah, praise me." But that is what it all boils down to, at least for me in my mind, because I'm just me. I'm not telling anybody to think like me. I'm just giving you my perspective.
Yeah.
And that's me trying to defend myself, because I'm not saying everybody's religion is wrong. I feel like that is wrong for me to say your religion is wrong. I can say, maybe we are confused. Maybe we are confused. We'll all find out one day. I can give you my partake. I'm just trying to be safe.
Yeah.
But I'm giving respect to everyone's religion. I'm hearing it out. And, at least, like, say, with me and you, I'm able to, like, depict and criticize in a healthy manner, outside of just, like, shunning somebody for their belief system, because that's not what I'm doing. That's all respect and it's all love. We're just watching this documentary here, and it's very informative. And even back in the day, there was a different time, but these blessed Christian people, they're speaking not of, you know, of harm or of ill will or anything. They're being very, very heartfelt. They're just telling it as it is, and also defending their own religion and their own mind and thoughts.
Yeah, yeah.
You know, then like so, and then they're just putting it together in a way for like spreading information.
I just find when you look into like the history of them too, like a lot of dates for different, you know, like characters, deities, however you want to like claim it, you know, line up with dates across all religions, you know. Like the dates of like Horus and Ra and stuff like that. Tied to the dates of like Jesus and things in like Christianity, to like Greek mythology figures. Excuse me, to like figures out of like Hinduism and stuff like that, you know, and it's like I almost would believe it has this is my take, I'm not putting it out there that this is law or anything either, that it's like what was needed in the different, you know, like because the world has got so many different cultures, so many different beliefs and stuff, you know, and so it's like people growing up in those environments, they got a depiction of the Lord in the way that they needed to see the Lord. And so it's like, I would almost say that like God is universal, you know, but it's like what Jesus would be to somebody else may be, you know, like Muhammad to somebody else. And they're not like two different people, but they came down in two different, like the way that they portrayed themselves and showed themselves to the people. So it's like the same entity being able to show itself in different fashions to correlate with the people better.
Yeah, I can believe that. I would say it will be. I could believe that the same energy, the same spirit. You know, the whole. At the end of the day, I don't know. You know, for what I know Yeshua ben Hur, or no, there's not. Yeshua ben Hur is what people know as Jesus. He paid taxes just like Muhammad. Probably paid taxes as well. These guys are prophets, but Yeshua. You know, his story is as it is, you know, and what I do know is the spoils of war, again. Spoils of war, I know back in those times, we're talking even back from Egypt time, there was this thing called the Ark of the Covenant. Ark of the Covenant, you know, Indiana Jones made a fucking movie about it, you know. But Ark of the Covenant was pretty much like a telephone to God. You know, kings back then wore their crown. They actually wear like, you know, gold and jewels and crowns for maybe a genuine connection towards Yahweh or God, you know. Leaders, that's what the art depiction of that little halo around these chosen few, that's what that depiction is. Like they have a divine connection towards the one creator. So, you know, it may be whatever it may be. I know again the things that I gone through, and sheesh. I'm just gonna say I don't test the waters with nothing else too much. I listen out, I hear, and understand, and I if we differ, opinion or anything like that, then that's perfectly fine. We're having a conversation. Say where you differ. Say where we agree, and you know. Call it a wrap.
Karma says that what you sow, you will reap. If I'm a husband in this life who beats his wife, I must come back in the next life as a wife who's beaten by her husband, which means that then my husband in that life must come back as a wife who's beaten by her husband. And it goes on and on. If I'm a murderer, I must become the victim of a murder, which means that the one who murders me must then become the victim of a murder. So karma does not solve the problem of evil, it perpetuates evil. Now, whether you want to believe it or not, in contrast, the Bible says, yes, we do suffer the consequences of our deeds, but at the hands of a righteous God, who has made a provision for our sins through God himself becoming a man to die for our sins. And if we accept his payment of the judgment we deserve, then we're forgiven. So the Bible does offer a solution.
Yoga, in its many westernized forms, is also at the heart of the New Age movement that has adopted Hinduism's basic beliefs and goals. In spite of the seeming variety in hundreds of competitive schools of yoga, all forms come out of India and lead into the occult, though most Westerners are not aware of this. Yoga techniques include breathing exercises, or prana, positions called asanas, dissolving the mind known as laya, psychic powers called siddhis, repetitious chanting named mantra, and deliberately cultivating black magic known as tantra.
In my extensive travels in India, I have encountered a number of Westerners who have got into Hinduism and began following Hindu gurus as a result of a very simple initiation into a yoga class. Yoga is in many ways the heart of Hinduism. There is no Hinduism without yoga, and there is no yoga without Hinduism.
Although there are many types of yoga, the one most familiar in the West often passes for physical exercise and is called Hatha Yoga. It promises mental and physical health.
You see that?
But its Hindu roots and
You see how he was the tip of the pyramid?
are seldom taught. Ellen believes that Raja Yoga, or yoga of the mind, is the highest form of Hinduism.
The Brahma Kumari's Raj Yoga is a form of meditation where the soul begins to understand itself clearly and has a connection with the Supreme Being. Raj means royal and yoga means union, so the link with the Supreme Being. And through this yoga, I become the ruler over my own self, over my mind and my life.
Johanna Michelson, former yoga teacher and assistant to a psychic surgeon, tells of her experiences in the occult in her autobiography, The Beautiful Side of Evil.
Another word for mantra is charm, or to cast a spell, if you will. And in mantra yoga, a word or a phrase or the name of a demon god is repeated over and over and over again to bring the individual to a vibration level.
So you hear that? She's like, with the occult, to like say to bring a deity, you say the name over and over and over again. Or do you know a little game of Bloody Mary? Exactly. It's the same thing. It's like a mantra. So like when these girls are like manifest, manifest. I remember, this shit is so fucked. It's so fucked. There's energy play, and it's even like murderer Charles Manson. He was known in prison. He was famous in prison because he was able to make those the prisoners feel the drugs that they used to take. So like if you used to do heroin or some shit like that, he would be able to hypnotize you to be able to feel that feeling again. And like that's probably through mantras and breathing exercises, because one, he was trained by the CIA. The CIA too does things like this. Like there's declassified documents where like, the things that you can say over and over again to like, there's numbers that you can say so like you can erase pain from your mind. I guess it's like 5515515 or some shit like that. But it's in these books, declassified shit, where it's like you say these numbers and you can pretty much understand like vibrations. It's pretty much, I'm pretty sure it's with vibrational frequencies and stuff like that as well, when you really think about it, because everything is a vibration. But
it's heavy, yeah. Never like it makes sense, to bring it through into like that sort of anything in repetition, and then the power of manifestation, that's to every degree. So it's like they say to repeat, like if you want good things in your life, to repeat that over and over again. That is the power of repetition.
yeah.
But yeah, to put that into like the mantra to cultivate, like deceived evils and stuff like that, it is taking a much more of like a hierarchy approach to it, where it's like to to sway the people towards that and
Yeah.
that sort of self-enlightenment light, and then be able to utilize the power of many.
Yo, and it's like it's legitimately it's witchcraft, and maybe it works, but you're like for what I know, you're not. And what I know and what I learned, that's why is what I know. You're not supposed to fuck with it, yo, because you're not of that. You're not, and I take it so simply. We're not of that dimension. We are gonna be able to do it at a point of time. Just be patient. When you're not patient, you're gonna get ripped up, bro.
Attract that which is being chanted for to bring
Like
about
witchcraft.
the desired effect. It's exactly what the white witches and magicians, so-called, use in the casting of their spells.
We were always told, no, it's just a meaningless sound. Had nothing to do with Hindu gods. But every time a person would sit down, they'd be invoking a Hindu god by thinking that mantra over and over again, be stronger in their life.
The chant goes, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. 108 mantras is one round, and they chant that 16 times a day. That takes 2 hours to do every day. That's the minimum requirement the guru exacts from that. It's sometimes referred to as a hypnotizing or brainwash technique, because whenever you're having a problem or running into some confrontation, you retreat to the security of the chanting instead of thinking a problem through.
George Harrison of the Beatles made mantra yoga acceptable to the world through his song My Sweet Lord, where he incorporated the chant to a Hindu god, Hare Krishna, simultaneously with the biblical shout of praise, Hallelujah. He said he did this deliberately to show that both religions are the same and to make Hinduism more acceptable. To pretend that all religions are the same is dishonest, as is the merger of various religious techniques. For instance, more and more Christians use the name Jesus much like a mantra. They claim that it's a tool to get them into the presence of God.
That's not his name.
Jesus said that repetitious prayer is not acceptable to God.
Maharishi Mahesh
not
Yogi,
Jesus.
originator of TM,
Yeshua Ben
claims to have put Eastern meditation on the mystical map. With over 3 million followers, TM is the largest guru movement ever to invade the West. The Beatles' much publicized visit to Maharishi's community in India in the 60s convinced their millions of fans that TM, the so-called scientific yoga, was an even more powerful way to bliss consciousness than drugs.
What makes TM
Who the fuck is that?
unique,
Who the fuck is
any
that?
other practices going on today is that
Funny thing is talking about reincarnation, huh? Who is that? Who the fuck is that, Dylan?
I don't know, man.
Dylan. Yo, have you ever, yo, this is a fucking conspiracy theory right here. So you're talking about reincarnation, right?
Yeah.
All right, now Jay-Z and Beyonce does this shit, right?
Mm-hmm.
Aleister Crowley does this shit, right? These blessed Indian people, they have this shit on their fucking forehead painted, right? They're all talking about reincarnation shit, right? And they're like, who the fuck does that look like, Dylan? Do you know a Marvel superhero who does all of this shit?
Oh, what, you two like Iron Man?
Do you know a Marvel superhero who talks about all this reverse travel, time travel, magic?
Oh, like Doctor Strange?
Who the fuck is that, Dylan? That shit is fucking Doctor Strange, bro. That's Doctor fucking Strange. And any photo of Doctor Strange you pull up, it look like that. That's Doctor Strange, bro. That's fucking that's Benedict Cumberbatch. He's just reincarnated.
You see that in the appearance, yeah.
Have you ever seen a reincarnate? You ever see like this thing of reincarnated celebrities?
Hell yeah.
Like, this is one of them.
Yeah, I see him.
And he's gone to India and he's learning, fucking researching the Kundalini and freaking Doctor Strange in the Multiverse of Madness. He's summoning fucking dark arts.
So you think this is a reincarnation of him now put into like Hollywood to be able to have a higher position of power to project?
I'm not saying anything because if you go ahead and say something like that, boy, you asking to get put into the loony bin. I'm just saying it's a funny fucking coincidence. No,
It is a coincidence.
Yeah, it's a funny coincidence. He looks exactly like Doctor Strange, bro. That is fucked.
It offers enlightenment very quickly.
I started experiencing being lost in this state of awareness called the absolute. In essence, Maharishi taught that we all come from that nothingness, and that is the source of all our consciousness, of all of our thinking and everything we do.
Maharishi's primary thrust is the marketing of his Siddhi Yoga, which is designed to develop psychic powers such as levitation. These courses, like most guru programs, cost thousands of dollars. Rob was able to finance his advanced training through government student loans, totaling $6,000.
During these sessions, it's a very strange environment. People speak in tongues, they yell and they scream, they talk in foreign languages. It's like a madhouse, and it's real crazy. Everyone bouncing around on foam pads, flying up in the air.
Rajneesh is one of India's most controversial gurus.
He got evil eyes,
of
bro.
endorsement
Yeah.
of shocking sexual
He
practices
says
as a
Aisha.
prerequisite for salvation.
He watched there's a Netflix special about him.
Oh yeah?
Yeah.
Bet you there is, and that.
His
Tell me
brand of
about
yoga
it.
called
That's what is
dynamic
it called?
meditation
Wild Wild
is a
Country.
new age combination
What
of
is it called?
Hinduism and
Wild Wild
psychotherapy.
Country.
Wild Wild Country.
This exercise, involving rigorous breathing
Oh
and
yeah, that's
ventilation,
evil.
is designed to
That's
arouse
evil,
the
bro.
serpent force called Kundalini, which the gurus believe lies coiled at the base of the spine.
I did dynamic meditation every day. We also called it Kundalini meditation. It starts off with a cathartic breathing, and the reason for it is just to move your energy and to get you out of your head and into your body, and you just breathe. The next phase, the screaming phase of dynamic meditation, feels like when you finally had an opportunity to throw a tantrum when you were a little kid.
This is like very vulgar, could easily be seen as
By
like
the time you get to
satanic.
the third phase,
Oh, yeah.
jumping up and
Well, I
down
mean,
is
like-
not there at all. And so it's pretty hard to remember what happens when you're there.
I think
guess the
there's a
closest
bunch of
thing
people
I
who's
can
not questioning
associate
anything.
is mindlessness.
You know, they're just trying
You
to
get
well,
to a
come here
place
to
where your
resort
mind
to
actually
let
leaves
go
your
of
body.
all your energies.
Your body's just jumping
So
up
they
and
can
down,
easily
and
be
your voice from your
persuaded to
gut
think
is
this is
yelling,
something
"Who?"
okay.
And you're not doing it anymore.
You're calling in energy.
You become one with this whole
This guy
energy.
looks possessed.
The next phase in dynamic is the quiet space. Someone yells, "Stop!" And you've just been doing 30 minutes of intense catharsis. And what happens after being in such incredibly intense movement for so long is just a feeling of peacefulness and stillness. My mind actually stops, and I feel a oneness with the whole universe.
There have been glowing reports published giving credit to the gurus and their pseudo-psychological techniques, but neglecting to mention the thousands of cases of emotional and mental breakdowns, insanity, suicide, beatings, murder, rapes going on in guru centers, various guru centers worldwide. It is alarming to realize these dangerous techniques for enlightenment are being incorporated in psychotherapies, self-help seminars, and are even being accepted in mainstream Protestant and Catholic churches and seminaries.
One of the fastest growing yoga.
Man, her eyes then didn't look natural.
Huh?
If you're watching her eyes, then they did not look natural.
The Horizon?
No, her eyes.
The white lady?
Yeah, when she was talking, her eyes looked unnatural for a sec there.
Okay.
Yeah, well,
Fastest growing yoga.
getting into some research, especially for like maybe things that we can watch to react to and stuff, you know, and write some videos down, so that'll take some
Like all
depression.
yoga, it is designed to provoke possession by Hindu spirits in order to break the chain of reincarnation. In Tantra, advanced disciples indulge in the most degenerate behavior, from human sacrifices to sexual perversion and sorcery.
I know that was the big one with Rajesh, was the sexual
If you will,
perversion.
it's the black and so-called white
That's exactly
magic.
where Aleister Crowley comes in with his sex black
Shakti,
magic.
the Kundalini force, is aroused. The psychic powers that accompany it are in full bloom.
That's what America
and
is. They say it's a
the
melting
individual,
pot.
depending on
They
his
mean that
personal
for a
preference,
reason.
Can channel this
Taking
force
all of
either
these
into
things and
black
then making a
magic,
new religion out of
which
it. New
includes
world,
rites
new
of
age. All
meditating
ruled
upon severed
by
heads,
Lucifer.
human heads in India,
But you don't
and
know
eating
about that shit.
bits of
They
flesh
don't want
and
to
the
scare people
unconsumed
about that
parts
shit.
of
But that's what they're
the
doing. You
incarnation
gotta turn away
rites
from
and
this
other
shit.
practices, horrifying practices.
All those same
Or they
fallen
can take it
angels, they
into what
follow
call the
Lucifer.
light magic part of
They
it,
fell
in
with
which
it.
they are using this power, this force, for healing.
That's what's the
for
name? The
benefit
creator of
mankind.
the satanic
Well,
cult.
Jan
No,
Paul
that's
LaVey,
that's
the
Aleister
Holy
Crowley.
First
No,
Church of Satan,
that's
he said it very
LaVey.
explicitly. He said that to believe there's any such thing as white magic is mythology. There is no such thing as
There is no
white
such
magic.
thing as white magic.
All of it has its source in occult psychic power, and it has nothing whatever to do with God.
Toby is a yoga teacher at the Scandinavian Yoga and Meditation School in Aarhus, Denmark, which promotes Tantra Yoga.
Tantra means to free the mind through expanding the awareness. That means to be able to meet more and more of the reality in everyday life.
But the spiritual side of it is even worse. For example, W. Brew Joy, who was a medical doctor who got involved in Eastern mysticism, became a guru. He says, not one person knows what psychic power is. And of course, that's what you develop in these states of consciousness. Or all of its aspects. And no one has ever known, despite attempts over thousands of years to master this knowledge. So you're playing with fire. That's what astonishes me. That these people would do it. He says tapping these energies is fire, and the consequences can be psychosis, aggravation of neuroses, acceleration of disease processes, and suicide. So here's a man who says, hey, the water's full of piranhas, but if you dive in and swim fast enough, you might get to the other side, and if you do, you got some terrific powers waiting for you. There are horrible dangers, but the worst danger is spirit contact. And that's what this whole thing is designed for, to make contact with the spirit world, to pick up spirit guides. And I have talked with many people in yoga, have made contact with spirit entities that have led them down.
That looks like a couple of celebrities I see.
Evil and destruction.
Oh, wow.
I remember a friend of mine who was one of the leading rebirthers. It's another way it comes in. They regress you back. It's in psychology and psychotherapy. And they regress you back and you relive this birthing process. And he became a Christian, and he said that after his observation of this whole New Age scene out there, he became convinced that these techniques were specifically designed to break open doors and knock down barriers that God has placed within us to prevent a demonic invasion. And of course, that's what the whole pagan world is about.
One of the reasons the Judeo-Christian Bible warns against involvement with the occult such as tantric yoga and meditation, is because it is said to open one up to spiritual deception by demonic powers whose very purpose is to lead people away from knowing the true God. Tragically, many Christians, after naively practicing these techniques, have felt compelled to alter or reject their beliefs. A common byproduct of meditation is the replacement of God with oneself. Maharishi Mahesh Yogi, originator of transcendental meditation, said that the purpose of his meditation is to be still and know that I, the practitioner, am God. After meditating, singer John Denver was quoted as saying, "I can do anything. One of these days, I will be God." Actress and best-selling author Shirley MacLaine claims that meditation helped her to realize that she was God.
It eventually leads to the realm of the spiritual, to meditation, where the person looks into himself to find the true self, and in finding the true self, he believes he's finding God.
You know, the frightening thing to me now, as I look back, is I started having the experience that I was God. And as God, I could completely structure my life and my universe exactly the way I wanted it.
The breathing exercises are designed to teach you to absorb the prana, the energy life force in the cosmos, to channel it into the chakras, the psychic channels, thus awakening the Shakti force, the Kundalini force, and bringing about those psychic powers, which are such an integral and prevalent part in yoga.
So very slowly, let's breathe in through our nose. Very slowly. Breathe in. Breathe out.
There are many dangers in the breathing techniques.
Yo.
Even the writers and the proponents of these exercises are quick to warn that not only do these things trigger emotional and mental diseases, which have been known to place people even in insane asylums for the rest of their lives, but they also recognize that these exercises can open your soul and your mind and your entire being to a takeover by demonic forces. Many people don't realize this, but it's terribly dangerous to go into a meditative state in which the mind is simply left blank, and that ultimately is the purpose of the meditations in yoga. It's like opening the door to a room. Whatever comes through, you have no control over.
Many argue that certain yoga techniques can be used as merely exercise, yet that is not yoga's intention. It can be compared to joining the military. While a soldier may get stronger and more vigorous, the purpose of the army is certainly not healthcare. The aim is to learn how to kill. And so it is with yoga. All yogic exercise was designed to kill the will, mind, and emotions, hence releasing the soul from the endless cycle of reincarnation.
I thought I was being strengthened, but what I was really doing is flipping into an altered state of consciousness, a form of self-hypnosis, which is very weakening to the mind and to the body. This weakness made me afraid to give it up.
The biggest danger I found in practicing transcendental meditation was the dependency on the technique itself. It's kind of like drugs. A drug addict doesn't want to give up his drugs, and because the experience is so pleasing, and he feels his life will crumble around him if he doesn't have it.
I thought I'd had the experience of like leaving Shangri-La and all of a sudden turning old and weak and disintegrating. I was afraid that I would lose my clarity and my energy. But little did I know, when I did give it up, I gained all these things that I never had when I meditated.
What do you think about those people just like freaking raging? They're just raging on their own.
Yeah, so that was the Kundalini and it's like the Brahma yoga or whatever it was in that one. I find that to be interesting. I've done some like breathing technique work and stuff like that before. And it actually involves, so what you would do is you like to your lungs, then to your stomach, to your lungs and then exhale, but you
Yeah.
only breathe through your mouth. And by
Yeah.
forcing like that, it kind of puts your body into an irregular state where you're going outside of the normal sort of like how your body would operate.
Yeah, I take it as like lightheaded and then keep going.
No, well, it wasn't like lightheaded. It was more like I got like this electric feeling in my body, my muscles
Okay.
started to like want to tense up. I was getting like lobster hands going on and stuff like that. And it like became very, very hard. You know, like people that were in the room too, some people were crying, some people would just like yell for no reason and stuff. And that was all like accepted, you know, like just do what your body feels natural, but stay in like this state, in this zone. And when it got to a point where it's like too hard to breathe because it's like everything locks up
Yeah.
because it feels so unnatural that your
Yeah.
body wants to freeze up and lock up.
Yeah.
Then you breathe through your nose. And once you do that, the body like released all of like that tension it was holding. And then, you know, you felt like super calm, super relaxed. Any worry you had going in there like seemed to disperse with the tension that you were letting go of. So I could see the effect of a practice. I could feel the bliss that they talk about with it and stuff like that.
See, like a mind dump almost. So you just erase everything for everything. I just see like a toilet flushing. You know, you just like a mental flush.
Yeah, almost, yeah, because you literally, it does seem to like hold on to everything that's kind of causing you tension, like builds up inside you, and then you're able to like release that and stuff. The whole high energy, so like yeah, that makes sense to me. Like the bliss that would come with being so high energy, like
Yeah.
erratic breathing, jumping around, and all
Yeah.
of that. Going to the level of like screaming and writhing on the ground and stuff.
Yeah.
That was a bit unnatural to me, but I like, as I said, it's like I can see the beauty of it, and
Yeah.
like the bliss that would come with it through my own experiences. But then I can also see like that unnatural depiction where it's like it's an opening, you know, where you're like
You're being very
allowing your
vulnerable.
soul and stuff to become that vulnerable state and let go.
Very
And
vulnerable.
a lot of stuff is like with Eastern culture, especially in spiritual practicing,
Yeah.
is it's like the teachings of detachment and all of that too. You know,
Yeah.
to be able to let go, not hold on and attach to things. And that way it's like you can focus on just being like your true self and having that true purpose and stuff without any sort of external hindrance to what it is that is your purpose.
Yeah. But the thing is though, is it's that same thing as evil cloaked in good clothing. It's like oh, what did they call it? A pig, yeah, like you can dress a pig up in fancy clothes, but it's still a pig.
Mm-hmm.
You know, you put lipstick on a pig, still a pig. You know, so like it's kind of like evil dressed. There's like the devil in Prada. Devil wears Prada. It's like it's cloaked. You know, like it looks all fancy, but what are they really telling you? So maybe if it sounds good with it, so just take a mental dump. You need the time to take a mental dump. I want you to erase everything in your mind, all your worries, all your problems. You know, you got to feed your children, you got to pay your rent, but we want you to just forget all about that and want you to flush it down the drain for a weekend. And like, but fill up with what? You know? And I think about energy. So when I think, oh, you're gonna flush, you're gonna flush everything. But when you're flushed, what are you filling yourself back up with? And that's why for me, I'm always filled up with the love of God, with the love of Yahweh. So I don't need no flushing. You know, if anything, I need to flush anything. I'm talking about to pay my bills, to feed that child, you know, to get those problems and worries strictly done so that I can lay down and sit back and relax for a weekend and actually just chill out.
Who knows? Yeah. But with that, I do agree with what you're saying there. Where it is like the people that come into that power and stuff like that, you know, like cutting corners, taking those you know, less than moral sort of paths and things like that seems to be almost in like, you know, different types of outlooks, even with like the capitalist outlook and stuff like that, you know, like people like you know, like Trump and stuff like that, they come into power. If you read like his books and all of that, and like the ethics of the business he conducted and all of that.
There's no ethics in business.
There is no, well, that's why it's two
But it's
different
why it's called
categories.
business
Ethics and ethics, exactly.
Yeah, exactly. Wow.
And yeah, but it is rewarded, you know, in like in a way that we have been conditioned to see that reward, you know, because it's like we have been trained to idolize that. We've been trained to see the grab of money, you know, and that grab of like having that financial security is a claim of like independence and something that should be, you know, like admired and idolized in a lot of degrees as well. So yeah, so I just you know, these people that tend to like be idolized sometimes, you know, not for like the correct reasons and all of that, and it breaches across all faiths, all religions and stuff, you know, and it, at what point can you say that it's like you know, it has to be taken away from the practice, it has to be taken away from the religion, because it's like I don't think that faith has ever failed humanity in any way, shape or form, you know, and it's humanity that tends to fail faith.
Yes.
Because they hand in hand with like the gain, whether it be the gain of trust of a community towards something that they would believe that, you know, is not like, you know, a genuine of movement, whether it be the gain of financial control and stuff and being able to, you know, take from those that have like, you know, a lot of these places will take from those that have very little.
Yeah.
And then preach about like finances and like preach about like monetary success and things like that. Taking from those that they know are struggling, and that's why these people are there, you know.
Yep, it just goes to show that evil lays where evil lays. It can be everywhere. It can be in the church and outside of the church as well. It doesn't. Evil is corrupt. And the pure fact that, as you see, it's so easy for anyone to actually be afflicted by evils. That's the better why you need your armor and you need your protection and knowing the love of God, you know, Yahweh Himself. Because with all of this, you'll be able to have those blessed eyes to see, those blessed ears to hear, the blessed tongue to speak, and like. When you, cause like for me, I give it up to Yahweh, because anytime I see something, movie or television show, maybe it may be Gravity Falls or some shit like that, I see things, and when I see it, I always remember it, and I have a lens. There's a blessed lens by God's blessing, and I'm able to depict it, and like I'm able to actually like, oh well, they're hiding in plain sight. And if you clearly see, like, if I don't understand why people are really naive and ignorant to the fact that if you see, like, say, a Catholic priest of a high order in the Vatican or something who's fondling little boys, and you don't classify that man as a demon, you don't see the difference, and you forget tomorrow, what can I say? Like, you forgot. You don't really care. And it's just like letting a pedophile go back on the street. What? He needs to be locked away in jail forever. You don't forget that shit.
Yeah, well, I think those people should just be put down. That's my personal opinion.
You feel me?
Something that it's like you don't unlearn those sorts of things. Those are like ingrained. You know, the mind is wired differently.
Well, hey.
And so the only thing that you can do is you can try and get someone to like teach them how to culturally appropriate. You will never like change that condition inside of their mind. They'll just learn how to hide it better.
I mean, you can chemically castrate the motherfucker. Castrate them physically. Well, that's cloaked.
It's not just like the act or the deed. There is like a mental dominance behind it and all of that, and the ruining of lives and everything that, you know, like something like that. Once it's done, it cannot be undone. It's the fairness thing. I think is just to put that energy down, you know, and eradicate it. You know?
I agree. Even though it might not even be so, I don't know. How do you say? Tolerant, as you have to be all tolerant nowadays, right?
Yeah, well, I think that
Yeah.
tolerance has to have, its boundaries.
Its boundaries. I do
Because
too.
at,
We have to
at
draw a
what
line
point
somewhere.
are you being intolerant of intolerance?
Yes. Luckily, we're getting somewhere. This evil has to be stopped some way, somehow. And you know what? With that said, I hope that we can find a way. My brother,
It's been real as always.
it's been real as always. You guys take care.
Keep your eyes open out there.
For real.
Cause we want retribution. Oh yeah, we want retribution.